The practitioner is someone who has developed very sophisticated sensitivities in the same way that someone that's blind can read Braille with their finger. They have developed those sensitivities. Okay? He has developed sensitivities that he can tap into your subconscious or my subconscious using your name from any location in the world. The big part of it is there's no downside. All right, so I'm here with Pasha today. Pasha is usually behind the scenes.
Yes.
So Pasha's been editing lots of meta moments and weekly channeling and a whole bunch of like level 10 metaphysical stuff.
Yes.
And he's like, what in the world is going on?
Yes.
And then we had some fun sort of expressions, the 23 appearing, and you started getting really curious. And then we'd have these talks downstairs where you're editing. And you're like, we should blog this, man. And I'm like, well, write down the questions, we'll see how it goes.
Write down the questions was the hard part. It's like back to high school.
Well,
do your homework.
They don't have to be questions as much as just the conversation that you were curious to have. Shadow, really, seriously. So, all right, with that said, wait, today is December
15th, 2023.
2023. Shadow, you may have to relocate.
The more I get to know you, the more I want to pick your brain at what do you think, what are your thoughts on certain things, what is your philosophy on certain things. And we've already had, as you mentioned, many conversations about certain topics.
What I realized is that since I was 16 years old, I've been hiding something, and that something is not devious or sad or traumatic. I've been hiding my belief system. I didn't share my belief system with people because to most people, borders science fiction.
You introduced me to the emotional code.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that is something I've never heard about before. And I can't recall whether it's actually helping me or not. But if there is something going on in the background, I mean, I'm all for it, right? Well, I'll start with that. The first thing that I want to talk about is emotional code. When you mentioned it to me, I was like, it's basically, in my understanding, and it's some sort of a, not like a religion, but it's basically if someone was to pray for you, right? Someone's praying for you and you do better because the higher powers are out there to help you out. What is your thought on it? Does it have to do anything with religion and higher power as like God, or is it more physics?
I think it's a combination of both, meaning the assumption is that you are part of a higher power, meaning you have a sophisticated construct within you. In metaphysics, there's a belief that each person has many finer bodies, not just the physical body. These days, people are talking about astral body, astral projection. That never used to be in the vocabulary, but that's not the last final body. There's many above that. And so it gets into this kind of, science has started talking about quantum. And there's a lot of quantum theory and quantum math and quantum science and things that I don't understand. However, the sliver of quantum that the emotion code addresses is the ability to tap into a common higher consciousness. You know when they say that, oh, I had that idea, and then it starts popping up in the news, or people around the world kind of invent the same thing at the same time. There's a physicist, Rupert Sheldrake, who talked about morphic resonance, which is the idea that kind of thoughts linger in the air.
Since the late 19th century, science has been conducted under the aspect of a belief system or worldview, which is essentially that of materialism, philosophical materialism. And these sciences are now wholly owned subsidiaries of the materialist worldview. I think that as we break out of it, the sciences will be regenerated. Second, matter is unconscious. The whole universe is made up of unconscious matter. There's no consciousness in stars, in galaxies, in planets, in animals, in plants, and there ought not to be any in us either, if this theory is true. So a lot of the philosophy of mind over the last 100 years is trying to prove that we're not really conscious at all.
That thoughts are a real thing, they have a vibration and they can kind of stick around you. Well, with all those little bits put forward, to answer your question, how I understand the emotion code is that the practitioner is not a prayer person necessarily. The practitioner is someone who has developed very sophisticated sensitivities in the same way that someone that's blind can read Braille with their finger. They have developed those sensitivities.
Okay.
Okay? He has developed sensitivities that he can tap into your subconscious or my subconscious using your name from any location in the world. The distance doesn't matter.
Okay.
And then through muscle testing, he can ask himself a question about Pasha. I don't even have an example question. And then he'll get an answer from your subconscious because his subconscious and your subconscious are connected at that moment. It's like a walkie-talkie, me to you, you to me.
Interesting.
So how does that play into something useful? Well, he can communicate with your practitioner. I'd reference Andy. A practitioner can communicate with your subconscious, asking where trouble spots are. So if you have a bunch of trapped emotions or trauma, past trauma, some people see them as energetic blocks, and they cause frustration, they cause anxiety, they cause confusion, all sorts of not great positive things, because you're like dragging around a bag of rocks with you. It's like too much stuff in your backpack, you can't get to the top of the mountain. So he's able to release those things. Now, the current methodology for releasing those things is therapy, talk therapy.
Correct.
Talk therapy, I'm mixed on, because in some way you got to relive it again and again and again and again. And to me, it never feels like it's going away. But with the emotion code, it's like a flush. That energy is released to be reabsorbed. And it seems to be more lasting in my experience. The thing is it's very subtle. So when you talked about, is it doing something or not? I would say watching you, it is. You seem more grounded. You seem more willing to kind of go with the flow. Even the other day you talked about your opinion about how you would handle relationships and the people around you that weren't vibing with you. You're like, I'm not compromising myself. I'm not. So there's, some people would say, well, that's just growing up. That's just maturing.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of that happening at a very concentrated time.
I could be convinced.
In my way. Well, I mean, anyways, the big part of it is there's no downside. There's
Exactly.
no downside. I mean,
Exactly. That's why I was like, I'll try it out. You know, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't harm me in any way. If it helps, great. If it doesn't do anything, I mean, I'm not losing or gaining anything. Like, it's okay.
And there's specific examples that I could give about the healing powers of the emotion code. Physically controlling bacteria, physically controlling infection, physically diagnosing broken bones, things like this. Your body knows when a bone is broken. Your mind might not, but your subconscious does.
see.
Yeah. So if you said, my toe really hurts, I stubbed it on this so-and-so, I could call Andy and I say, Andy, check in on Pasha's toe. And he'd be like, I'm not picking up a fracture. So it sounds psychic, but he's like, I'm not a psychic. He's like, I'm just asking Pasha's subconscious.
Interesting. I want more on that because I have certain physical health issues, which I think they're issues. I know something's not right, but every time I go to the doctor and I do all kinds of, blood work, tests, anything, they're like, oh, it's okay, you're okay. But I know I'm not okay. And I've been to multiple doctors many times throughout the years and nothing's found, I'm perfectly fine. But I know I'm not. So if there's a way to talk to Andy.
Well, there is. The doctors don't measure energies. This is why when you go to a doctor, they pretty much say, get this test, get this test, get this test. And then they go by the test results. But it's your body. It's not kind of your understanding of your body. It's like, I see a cut. I see a broken bone. It's that sort of thing. I see the blood levels are so-and-so.
Question that came up while you were talking about Andy being able to tap into my energies based on my name. There are 8 billion people out there. What if someone has the exact same name? How does he know that it's me that he's working with?
I asked him about that, and it's a couple things. One is I told him who you are, where you are, and your age, approximate age.
Okay.
So it's not like he's got to go through this list of these billions of people. It apparently happens very fast. And also you're in proximity to my energy, so he kind of cross-references it with me. So there's, the pool gets really small fast. If you had a twin brother, you'd be, oh, let me check, maybe it's something different. But he's never struggled. He can tap into pretty much anybody. It's not in an invasive way because, remember, we have to have your permission.
Exactly.
And your subconscious has to agree to it also.
Yes, because if you were to do it in a malicious way, the subconscious of a person who doesn't want to be, manipulated in any way would just be like, no, you know, and
Well, some people don't want. Some people identify with their trauma. Some people kind of want to be the guy in pain.
yes,
And they don't want. It's a part of their identity.
I don't like those people.
So,
But it does
but
happen.
the emotion code can do no harm. You see,
Yeah.
it goes one way. It goes to improving the energies, improving the way things move. There's nothing that gets planted or dropped that's like a little hand grenade. It doesn't work that way. It's not possible.
It's impossible
It's not
overall,
casting.
or someone with the bad intent could do it.
Maybe somebody could do it, I guess, because I can think bad thoughts towards people, but I don't know the result if it really
I see.
reaches them. So I just don't know about that. But
Okay.
Andy is not.
Obviously,
it
yeah.
doesn't even occur to him.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. I've got a little bit more answers
Yeah.
on that. That's for sure.
And he can tap into animals too.
Yeah, we've talked about it with Tom Tom and Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom
Yeah,
Tom's
he
getting more.
He helped find Tom Tom,
Yeah,
and he's working on her with peeing on the rug. And
that would be helpful for
yeah,
sure.
it's good. Yeah.